I am Sheetal, pursuing Master of Social Work in Cristo Jayanti deemed to be University. Now I'll be dealing with the case study. Let's go through migration and refugees of Rohingya refugee family. Let's begin with introduction, background of the case, migration experience, current living conditions, psychosocial assessment, psychological issues of the family, major psychosocial challenges, social work interventions, possible solutions, and the conclusion. Now I'll be talking about the migration. Migration means the movement of people for safety, work, education, or better life. Refugees means forced to leave due to war, violence, or persecution. Persecution means it's a cruel or unfair treatment of a person or a group, especially because of their religion, social identity, race, and political beliefs. Where forced migration exposes people to trauma, loss, stress, tension, fear, and afraid of living. Refugees may face identity crisis and social isolation. Common mental health issues like anxiety, stress, depression increases in the people as difficulty integrating into new communities. Then social workers also provide psychosocial support and promote resilience. Resilience means the ability to stay strong and recover from difficult situations or challenges. Go through case background. Rohingya refugee family from Rakhine state, Myanmar, migrated to India due to ethnic violence. Family members are Rahman, Salma, Yasmin, and Imran. They belong to minority facing discrimination and lack of rights. Then the family witnessed violent attacks in their village, forced migration under difficult conditions as they initially stayed in refugee settlement in Jammu Kashmir, later moved to temporary rented shelter. Now let's go through migration experience, exposure to violence and fear during escape, lack of food and medical care during journey, separation from extended family members, emotional distress and uncertainty, like they were not having the proper food facilities and medical care during the journey. Let's understand the post-migration challenges, language barriers in new environment where people from other places were present and the language was difficult to deal with, then lack of legal documentation and limited for jobs, and social discrimination from host community, difficulty feeling a sense of belonging. Let's continue with psychosocial assessment, where we have three types: economic, social, and education. Now psychosocial assessment of economic will deal with irregular income from daily wage labor, financial instability and stress, limited employment opportunities. Then psychosocial assessment of social and education, where limited support to the social network and dependence on refugee community, overcrowded housing and poor sanitation. Also, children faced school adjustment and language issues in the community and in the schools, in education, academic stress which was faced by students. Let's understand about the psychological problems of father, mother, daughter, and son. So psychological problems of father are chronic stress from the financial responsibility and who was the bread earner of the family, and loss of social identity, anxiety about the future stability, low self-esteem and frustration. Psychological problems of mother, loneliness and homesickness, depressive symptoms, grief over living homeland and sleep disturbances and fear about children, which psychological problems faced by the daughter, low self-confidence due to discrimination, social withdrawal, academic stress and identity confusion, and acculturation, that is cultural adjustment stress. Your cultural adjustment stress means it is the stress or emotional or difficulty to a person feels when adjusting to a new culture, a language and lifestyle after the migration. So this is known as cultural adjustment stress, where the people face psychological problems faced by the son, nightmares related to trauma, difficulty concentrating and irritability, and fearful behavior and emotional insecurity and coping up with the schoolmates in the schools, and the differences of languages, caste, religion, these things. Understand the major psychosocial challenges faced by the community, like cultural adjustment stress, as I told, or difficulty in a person when adjusting to a new culture, language and lifestyle. Then language barriers, there are many language barriers. And then social stigma and discrimination. That is stigma. Stigma means a negative or label or shame attached to a person or a group by society because they are seen as different. So this is known as social stigma and discrimination. Then legal uncertainty and lack of services. They were not having lack of services, like when it comes to essential resources and sanitation. Yeah. After the possible solutions, case management and needs assessment. Case management means the planning and organizing the support services, like planning, organizing and coordinating the support services for the vulnerable people. And then needs assessment means to identify the problems and the resources. Then regular follow-up within the family, connecting to healthcare, education and employment support for the future stability of the family. Part of is the next part is counseling and psychoeducation. Part of possible solution is counseling and psychoeducation. Counseling, it's like individual counseling for trauma and stress, family counseling to strengthen communication, stress management techniques, then psychoeducation about mental health and coping. Psychoeducation means it is teaching people about their mental health, emotions and ways to cope up with the problems they were facing about. Community and educational support, where refugee support groups and community participation for social integration, language classes, then school counseling and peer mentoring like friend groups, school counseling, student counseling will be taking place. Then we have livelihood and advocacy, where skill development programs need to be taken and employment assistance was there, and financial literacy training, then legal documentation and rights advocacy. Then we'll come to the last part of the case study, that is a conclusion, where forced migration impacts psychological and social well-being. Then holistic psychosocial interventions are essential, like counseling, community support and advocacy help recovery. Like we can advocate to them, like raising voice for the people who are vulnerable and who are marginalized community. Then social workers also support resilience and long-term integration, which is necessary for the future stability. Yeah, thank you.